was very little.
Wow.
Exactly, when I was growing up. So we all knew each other, and we had this man. We went to school with his children. He had one, two, three, four wives, four women. He had like a 5 or 10 acre piece of land, and he had four women living with him and having their children, and they were open about it. Like there was no secret. Everybody knew that his wife and the other three were his women, and they all had kids. They lived in the same, 5-10 acre farm, and they all had their little houses. And people in the town, it was kind of weird learning as a child, because you don't know what that means, right? You're
Yeah.
like, okay, they're fully okay, so they're probably sisters. They're probably, whatever. So you,
Yeah.
you don't think that is like kind of like many wives, one husband.
Mhm.
There's grapes, not grapes, but something involved, because
Right.
the ones were young. Like some of the wives were very young, 16, 17 years old, like kind of weird. And he was like in his
Mhm.
late 30s, probably 40s. No, his 40s, because we went to school with his kids. And so we knew
Mm.
that he had the main lady, which was his wife, and then he had built three. So he had four houses, kind of far apart from each other. And so when we used to go play, like when we used to go invited to, like go play at their house with the kids, we would jump from house to house to house, because like I said, we all went to school with the kids. So we'll go, let's go drink water in my house. Or let's go get something to eat in my house. And it was weird because everybody called him dad. So I was like, how many kids does this guy
Yeah. How many
like?
kids? Yeah.
And so for me it was like the main lady was the mom. But my dad eventually explained to me, no, yeah, that's his wife, but then he has this other three that are his, wives too. And I was like, what? So yeah, I grew up with someone like that. So I think that
Mm.
as a child growing up, seeing someone with many women around, and it's somewhat normal, it normalizes it in your brain, because I
Yep.
don't get shocked anymore when I see that people have more than one wife, right?
Yep.
Or that certain they practice, you know having multiple wives, multiple children, and sometimes it works. It's
Yep.
a great system.
Yep. It works for, if it's working for you, then it works for you. Every
Exactly.
every single person is different. And one thing that I talked about, Miss Nexa, I don't know if you were listening when I was talking about it, but talking about, secrets and stuff that everybody knows, like growing up and not knowing that your your mother, who you call your mother, is actually your grandmother or your auntie. Because back in the day, how, if you were married, like your mother or your aunt or your grandmother would raise you, because your mom was not married at the time, and that's just, and they would just leave you and go about their life like you didn't exist, which is so weird. And that woman's supposed to go on like she never had a child. I don't know. It just
It,
it messed me up, because I found out that a few people that I knew, later on we found out that that's not my mom, that's my auntie, or that's my, or vice versa, or my grandmother is actually my mother. It's just weird. Or my uncle is my dad. Just, I
again,
mean,
it's kind
really
of,
messed up some people. Really messed up some people.
you know it's it's it I grew up with just a dad, right? I grew up with just my dad.
Mhm.
And even though I knew that I had a mom, that it was my father's wife,
Mhm.
growing up, I felt like maybe she's not my mom, because she left, right? So maybe I'm somebody else. And my siblings would tell me, oh no, we picked you up from the trash can. My dad found you. You were all thrown away because nobody wanted you. So when they will get mad, they will